Good morning and welcome to this week's edition of Marquette in Motion. We're your hosts, Hallie Kilberg
and Miranda Peters.
On today's show, Miranda and I will be giving you all of the details on the upcoming speech season.
We'll also be talking about another popular season, homecoming.
Reporter Justina Denlinger will be recapping the first semester as well as looking ahead to the second semester.
For our special academic feature, 7th grader Trevor Klein will be talking about the exciting expansion happening in our preschool program.
Jeb Schwager and Garrett Krieg will be here with the sports report, and they'll also be sharing the livestock judging competition results.
In segment 3, Molly Minster and Maura Tracy will be here with their senior interview, this week featuring Alex Schwager.
And to end the show, Miranda and I will be filling you in on all the exciting events coming up next week at Marquette. Should we get down to it?
Let's start the show with a little HOCO.
Homecoming week will be next week for students. Since Martin Luther King Jr. Day is on a Monday, however, no school will be held.
So, Tuesday through Friday will be filled with dress-up days, fun games, awards, and picture-taking for all.
The week will kick off on Tuesday morning as 9th through 12th grade students will vote on the homecoming court. Previously, seniors each voted for the 4 boys and 4 girls they'd like on the court. The dress-up day on Tuesday will be Favorite Holiday. Students are encouraged to dress up in a creative way to represent their favorite holiday. Everyone will attend a K-12 mass, and immediately after, they'll head to the MEC.
There, an intense basketball game will be held, some of the faculty of Marquette versus some of the students at Marquette, those not involved in basketball, that is.
Wednesday will then be Iconic Group or Duo Day. For this dress-up day, students dress up with a partner or group, recreating a famous group or pair.
Thursday's dress-up attire is entitled Athlete versus Mathlete. Students will attend school either dressed sporty or a little more intelligent looking.
Friday, as is tradition, is a system-wide red and white day. After Mass in the afternoon, a dodgeball tournament between all of the high school grades and teachers is played. New this year, after the dodgeball games, there will be some groups of high school students playing a life-sized game of Hungry Hippos.
How exactly? Well, although Hallie and I will be both playing, we don't actually know yet.
Friday night is then the homecoming basketball game against Cedar Valley Christian. In between the girls and boys varsity games, last year's king and queen, Sam Peters and Ellie Sieverding, return to crown this year's royalty. Come out on Friday night to see who it is.
Saturday is then the night of homecoming. After the tradition of meeting with classmates at someone's house to take pictures, attending Mass, and then taking more pictures, students will then venture out to the Shore Event Center for dinner and dancing along with entertainment such as hypnotism and mind reading.
And if that isn't busy enough, speech will have been held that morning.
Departing at approximately 5:45 a.m., 4 teams of group speech participants will travel to Monticello High School to compete at the district speech competition.
These teams include freshmen Molly Minster and Maura Tracy performing Ditsies.
A group of junior boys doing improv. This includes juniors Garrett Krieg, Danny Coos, and Jeb Schwager.
Junior girls Sunny North, Sydney Jacobs, Brooklyn Moore, Macy Kramer, and Lauren Sieverding will be performing the piece Steel Magnolias.
And Allison Hager, Amanda Coos, and Hallie Kilberg will be presenting elevator games.
These groups are also performing today at Lisbon for the conference speech event, but next Saturday's performance is the one that counts, determining which Marquette teams, if any, will advance to the state level. But you'll have to wait and see. We'll inform you on all of the results at a later date.
Luckily, you don't have to wait too long for the rest of the show. We'll be back with more Marquette in Motion after the break. Welcome back to Marquette in Motion. As any Marquette high schooler can tell you, yesterday marked the end of the first semester for the 2017-2018 school year. The week was spent taking finals, sharing presentations, submitting essays, and finishing projects. We thought the first half of the school year needed a proper send-off, though, so here to bring it to you is Justina Denlinger.
The 2017-2018 school year has been trucking along and is officially half over. There will be a bit of a rest stop for students, though, as Monday they will not have school. Teachers, however, will convene and spend the day reflecting on the year and their teaching thus far. We here at Marquette in Motion thought we'd do our own reflecting and share some of the highlights from the year. Let's start at the beginning. Students returned from summer break greeted by a great addition, a new wing to the school comprised of a beautiful multi-purpose room to be used as a gym and cafeteria, a spacious secretary office, and an exquisite parish center. In September, Mr. Kaiser graciously allowed himself to be duct taped to the wall for Marquette's Sticking Up for the South fundraiser. which raised over $1,000. That month, librarian Gloria Pedish also completely revitalized the former elementary music room and converted it into a new reading room. October saw the marriage of Mr. Jim and Audrey Hollinsby. Andy Bishop celebrated his 100th volleyball victory, and Marquette held a bake sale to raise money for the Serve Haiti organization. Governor Kim Reynolds and Lieutenant Governor Adam Gregg also spent an entire afternoon that month on the Marquette campus reading to children, listening to student ideas on how to make Iowa a better place, and, of course, being interviewed for Marquette in Motion. Also witnessed the Marquette girls cross-country team in Fort Dodge at the state cross-country meet for the second year in a row. In November, the Marquette Drama Department put on the Glass Menagerie, as well as Goldie and Little Red. High schoolers participated in Make a Difference Day. Father Cruzy invited junior high students to research and portray a saint. Seniors took part in a Shadow Day. The Student Council held its annual chicken dinner. Tori Mickle made another state appearance in swimming. Archbishop Jacobs visited our new facilities and conducted a blessing. High schoolers attended NCYC. The dance team went on to state. Families donated to the Bellevue Breadbasket, and the lunchroom began being utilized as a cafeteria. In December, Marquette friends and families gave over $3,700 to take away hunger. Advent was celebrated with Stations of the Crib. Christmas concerts were held, and Mr. Jim Hollinsby was chosen as Maquoketa VFW's Local and District Teacher of the Year. Last week, auditions for the spring musical Annie were held, and this week the cast was announced. The leads include Jalen Tyson as Annie, Luke Keys as Daddy Warbucks, Ashley Coos as Miss Hannigan, and Sunny North as Grace. And that brings us to the present day. We can't wait to see what next semester brings. For Marquette in Motion, this has been Justina Denlinger.
Thanks, Justina. Here now is Trevor Klein sharing some exciting news about Marquette's 3-year-old preschool program.
In the second semester, Marquette will be expanding its 3-year-old preschool program. Because of a growing class size, students will now be taking up residence in 2 classrooms rather than just 1. In addition to the current preschool classroom, students will also be utilizing an upstairs classroom. To make this growth possible, Mrs. Heather Weber will be joining the 3-year-old preschool team, which consists of teacher Mrs. Teresa Schwager and instructional assistants Carol Kettman and Jill Noting. Though 2 classrooms will now be used, all 3-year-old preschool students will engage in activities in both classrooms. From Marquette in Motion, this has been your guest reporter, Trevor Klein.
As some of our faithful listeners may recall, Miranda and Jeb couldn't join us last week on the show because they were gone to Denver, Colorado with a livestock judging trip. Well, here to tell us more about the trip and to share the sports report are Garrett Krieg and Jeb Schwager.
Thanks, girls. To start out this week's sports report, we'll begin by recapping all the results from Denver.
On Wednesday, January 3rd, the Bellevue Livestock Judging Team set out to Denver, Colorado to take part in the National Judging Contest at the National Western Stock Show.
This team was made up by Brooklyn Moore, Miranda, Nick Deppie, and myself, along with Wade Schwager as an alternate.
The team, accompanied by the Ag Advisor, Mr. Steve Schrader, placed 17th overall with a top 10 finish in the Reasons Division. With 2 more years together, this team already has sights on numerous contests to come, with the beginning of a new judging season already approaching quickly.
Now for good old Marquette basketball news.
Last Friday, January 5th, the basketball teams traveled to Colesburg to take on the Vikings.
Action kicked off at 4:30 with a JV girls game, where the Marquette girls came out strong and pulled off a victory.
Next was the JV boys in action. In this game, the boys were down by 18 points at half, but in the third and fourth quarters, they were able to make it within 2 points. However, in the end, they were not able to come out with a win.
Then, at 6, the varsity girls took the court in what would become a 40-26 win over Edco. Their team was led by McKenna Mickles and Tiana Richmond, who both had 8 points and also had 5 and 6 rebounds, respectively.
Finally was the varsity boys. Despite the great effort put forth, the boys were not able to come out with a victory. Nathan Brinker led the team with 18 points and 14 rebounds, and they lost 55-70 to the Vikings.
Tuesday, January 9th, marked the next night of action for Marquette basketball, when the Mohawks took on Central City at home.
At 4:30, the JV girls took the court, where they came out with yet another big win.
Next was the JV boys, which turned out to be an overtime thriller, once Carson Mickles hit a three-pointer to tie it with mere seconds left in regulation. But, despite hard work, the guys ended up losing by 3 points in overtime.
At 6, the varsity girls' action started. In the game, the Marquette girls would go on to win with a final score of 53-15.
Last but not least was the varsity boys game, which was kept close nearly the entire time. However, Central City's outside shooters proved to be too much, as Marquette lost by 9 in the end, with a score of 54-45.
Last night, all the basketball teams traveled to Maquoketa Valley to take on the Wildcats. These results, however, will be growling right back at you in next week's edition.
For Marquette in Motion, this has been Jeb Schwager
And Garrett Krieg
with your Marquette Sports Report.
Thanks, guys. Stay tuned, listeners. We'll be back with more Marquette in Motion after the break.
Welcome back to Marquette in Motion. Here now, interviewing senior Alex Schwager are Molly Minster and Maura Tracy.
Hi, I'm Maura Tracy.
And I'm Molly Minster, and today we are here with our senior interview, Alex Schwager. Hi, Alec. We hope your week back in your classes has been going well. Would you mind telling us how you spent your Christmas break?
Yeah, this Christmas break was actually a really good one. I had a lot of family back, so my siblings were all home, and they all live far away, so we spent a lot of time together, and it was just a really good break, relaxing, kind of hanging out, so it was a good time.
Alec, what is one word that you would use to describe yourself?
If you count a hyphenated word, it would be easygoing. I feel like I'm kind of a laid-back guy and pretty easy to approach, easy to get along to, and just easy to talk to overall.
Can you tell us a little bit about what activities you are involved in here at Marquette?
Yeah, activities. I am involved in the golf team, the baseball team in the summertime, and also the Quiz Bowl team and National Honor Society. And I also participate in the strength and conditioning program after school.
Now, looking forward to next year, do you know what college you would like to attend and what you would like to major in?
I am uncertain which college I'm going to attend next fall, but I know for a fact I would like to major in finance and eventually become a financial advisor and hopefully start up my own business someday.
Who is your role model?
My role model would be my grandpa. He was the most kind and selfless person I know. He would always give of himself for the good of others, and I really respected him for that.
What is your favorite book or movie?
My favorite book would be The Great Gatsby, and they made a movie of it, but I think the book is better. I like reading that. It was one that I really couldn't put down, and I think it's got a great message behind it.
What are some of your favorite hobbies?
My favorite hobbies include, obviously, the sports that I participate in, baseball and golf, but other than that, I like to hunt. I hunt deer and squirrel sometimes, but deer is more fun because it's the bigger game. And I also like to kayak in the summer out on the river.
Thank you for all your contributions to Marquette. Can you leave us with what you'll miss most about Marquette next year?
Next year, I think I'll miss my classmates most. I've really become close with all of them over the past year. I think senior year, everyone kind of matures a little bit more, and we all have our own goals that we're going towards, so we develop a lot more respect for each other, and I'm really going to miss seeing their faces every day.
Thank you, Alec, for letting us interview you today.
From Marquette in Motion, this has been Maura Tracy
and Molly Minster with your senior interview.
Thanks, girls. Now to round out the show, Hallie and I will be looking ahead.
Be sure to come out and support our junior high boys at home this Tuesday as they take on Ackwen at 4 o'clock p.m. in the new gym.
The junior high boys will be playing Thursday as well, taking on Easton Valley at home, once again at 4 o'clock.
Then, Friday night marks the homecoming game. The basketball teams will be taking on the Cedar Valley Christian Huskies. The JV girls will start it all off, tipping off in the new gym at 4:30.
Saturday is then districts for large group speech, as well as the homecoming meal and dance.
And thank you for letting us into your home this week. For Marquette in Motion, this has been Hallie Kilberg
and Miranda Peters.
And remember, stay informed, stay involved, stay
in motion.